Hi everyone, today we have with us Dr. Sharmila ma'am, who is expert on the interview skills training, soft skills training, of course the other things to you as well.
Thank
And
you.
I hate it when people introduce me like this. He is
Yes.
a YouTuber. No, that's not my main job. I'm a
True.
teacher, so don't
Yes.
address me like. But yeah, we can't help it. So ma'am, I want to address a very serious issue that I panic when I see the interview says, and I've seen a lot of students talking to me about this. That even though they are well prepared, this and that, but still that whatever, whatever you do, but when you are on the interview table and when there's someone to judge you,
Correct.
and that's where the panic button goes down.
I agree with you, because if I have to sit for an interview, I would be doing the same, panicking. Having taught for so many years, I still feel that if I have, and I have appeared for certain interviews, and when I do that, I do feel that nervousness. Now, what we tell our students is that that's a good sign in a way. That means you care enough about the interview that you're appearing for. However, as you said, you're well prepared, you know the answers. Sometimes what happens is that we are too well prepared. And what happens, I notice with students, is that they write down and then they memorize their answers. So when they do that and they forget a single word there, they tend to lose confidence. And of course, it's difficult to look into people's eyes. So that's one thing that they need to start preparing for. One tip I give the students is prepare in front of a mirror. Look at your own self, and it's very difficult. If we've done online classes, invariably our eyes would go towards our own image there to see, oh, how am I looking on camera? So they need to stop worrying about those small things. It is easy for me to say at this phase of my life, but they also need to understand that if they bungle a particular interview, they stand to lose, and maybe there's a lot riding on it. But at the same time, I think there are several other opportunities which wait for you.
Correct.
So if they have that in mind, कि ये नहीं कोई और सही, they will be all right. Having said that, Lavneet, like if you have a conversation with somebody like this, you ask me a question and I'm answering you because you're a friend, I know you. I'm getting more into the niche of how I'm going to talk about. On the other hand, if I'm just memorizing for myself and preparing it, it doesn't come out naturally.
Correct.
So the students need to sort of prepare with another individual. It could be a member of the family, it could be a friend, but make it conversational.
Correct. So number one point, they have to prepare obviously, but rather than rectifying or mugging up the answer, have a kind of a keywords in place.
Yes,
I'm going to talk
absolutely,
about
these factors.
Correct, and that's a better way to
absolutely, I agree with you
number
there.
One. So number two is practice in the mirror.
Yes, I think practicing in the mirror is a little difficult because you're looking at your own image and talking. आप अपना सर कंघी करते हो or anything else you're doing, you're looking in the mirror. But talking to yourself in the mirror, it helps you get over your nervousness.
Correct. And then number 3 point, you have to give as many interviews as
absolutely
possible.
So your friend, your neighbor, your a gentleman in your area or lady in your area who's in a good position in an organization, if he or she does a mock interview for you, you're getting prepared.
With every interview. I believe in the concept of 7 interviews. So you have to give 7 interviews before you
Correct.
Then the 8th interview, everything is coming out.
Yeah, it's like in your sleep you can do
Correct. You can do that in your sleep. And there's no tension, no stress, reduced stress. Any kind of yoga or meditation exercises
I tell the students that of course breathing techniques are important. You need to practice some amount of pranayama. I also think somewhere that all of us come from backgrounds where our parents have taught us certain ways of praying. So maybe if you have a mantra or something that you tell yourself before you just go in for the interview, that also calms people down.
Correct.
I've noticed that with several students who tell me that, ma'am, I say the Gayatri mantra or I do. Maybe that will help you. It's a crutch for you, but it's a crutch that is connecting you to the Almighty.
Correct.
And it's a necessary crutch at times, because I think all of us believe that there is a power beyond us and that the superpower will help us. So I think that, and of course, definitely breathing techniques help. On a lighter note, I tell the students, you are feeling nervous when you're standing and speaking, hold a sharp knife in your hand, it bites into your hand. and your focus will be on it rather than on the interview. But that's on a lighter note.
Right.
But it helps if
Correct.
you
Wearing a favorite shirt, having a
correct.
pen. This
Yeah,
and that.
just having something you think is a talisman for
Correct,
you
correct,
is
correct,
going to be
correct.
helpful.
And these things help.
These
So
things help.
I would like to say the line from a PK movie. I think कि अगर वो काला धागा बांधने से मेरी help मिलती है, तुम कौन हो तुमको
तुम्हें
ना
क्या
बोलने
problem
वाला.
है?
So it's the same way. So it's help. All these things help.
Correct.
So if you can take deep breaths before the
Yes,
interview,
yes, definitely.
because I think interview.
And Ravneet, if you are sitting outside, waiting for an interview, and I go out and you ask me, "तुमको क्या पूछा?" That creates anxiety.
Correct,
उसको जो
correct,
पूछा जरूरी नहीं है वो तुम्हें भी पूछेंगे.
Correct,
So
correct,
don't
correct.
ask other people how it has gone, because their perception and what they're telling you may not be correct. So don't form perceptions. Each one is
Correct.
different. So
And I believe more than the interview table, the stress comes when you're waiting outside.
absolutely.
And then talking to other people, and then
Correct.
I think that's where it's keep on adding. And then the moment
Adding.
you enter the room, like boof, then you're gone. Then
Yeah.
suddenly it's gone.
So when I'm interviewing, I end up asking them something about politics, and then each student going out will say, "Governor का नाम पूछा, पर मैंने तुमको नहीं governor नहीं PM का नाम पूछा." So
Correct, correct,
so it could
correct.
be anything.
So I had a stammering issue. I still have a stammering issue. So for me, that was a very big concern,
I
whether I will
understand.
survive or not. So, but then I make sure that I make my work talk for me.
Absolutely.
So you prepare for the interviews, you prepare your answers, and then everything is. Then I'm confident कि ठीक है यार वो जो है वो है. तुम उसको
And I think, I don't know how your experience has been, Ravneet, with your stammering, but I have come across a lot of students who stammer. And what happens is that I notice that particularly if these students are in a GD, the other students become quiet and they are supportive of the group.
Them, yes.
They understand this student has a. So I think humanly we are supportive, and as you said, your work speaks for it. For
So
the
I
stammering.
make sure that in the interviews it worked for me. I mean, but do these kind of things, my nervousness hamper my interview on the day?
I don't think so. I think as an interviewer, we are always aware of the fact that the person coming in is nervous. And invariably, our attempt is to make them comfortable so that we get the best out of them. We know that they are on nerves. And we know that, particularly with the business school, what happens is we know we are going to give them several sessions when we are preparing them for the corporate world. And once you are at the workplace, you are already working. When you switch jobs, you know what you're going to be talking about because you've done some work which sort of explains where you're coming from. So the credibility is better. But I don't think anybody is trying to make you nervous in an interview.
correct.
The idea is not to do that.
Not true. So, and one main thing which I always recommend to students is don't think today the day break or make or break kind of a.
No, like I said, this is not the end of the road.
Correct. No. From the interview point of view, because I used to think that way. Ki, Arey, aaj ye, he decide my future, he decide my career. No, in most of the MBA colleges, they're just going to give you marks.
Correct. And there are several other things which
which
come into play. It's not just the interview. The interview is one way, one of the parameters. There is the group discussion, there is your work experience, there is also your academic score so far, and so on. There are several parameters on which you have to be assessed.
Correct. And even the interview, the comm skills, if I'm weak in comm skills is one aspect.
Did you talk logically? Did you give me something substantial? Did I see that you gave me something rational to focus on?
Correct.
It doesn't matter. See, all of us speak with a particular accent. If I'm from Bengal, I have a Bengali accent. You're from Tamil Nadu, you have a Tamil accent. You're from Punjab, you have a Punjabi accent. Not everybody has a neutralized Indian accent. So it doesn't matter. And sometimes when we find they are really struggling, तो हम बोलते ठीक है हिंदी में बोलो. At times we have done that. We know that we'll have to work harder with the student when they join. So at the end of the interview, we generally tell them, you have some time before you join any MBA program. Try to work on your language skills. So that by the time you go, what happens in India, we look at English as your barometer of where you are, which is not correct. So it's ideal that we learn to look at people beyond the language skills.
Right. And ma'am, I've heard and I've seen. I am knowing ma'am for last 8 or 16. The first time I came to your campus and met you, and today is 24 for almost 8 years. So SIES put a lot of efforts in students.
Correct.
And that's what I've been hearing from the students as well. I've seen that as well. So define, if suppose if I'm not joining your college, if I'm joining somewhere else,
Yeah.
what all activities are doing so that I can also do those things once I join the college and improve myself.
All right. One is, of course, we have a business reading session, which we begin with the students right in the first term, so that they get into the habit of reading, analyzing business decisions. They understand mergers and acquisitions. They understand why a company is doing it. So these kind of things are done. We give assignments to them, and I do it. So my colleague also does it. And this is that we give them certain management books to read and review those books in class. So at least alongside your course curriculum, you're reading one other management book, which is not a textbook. So you're reading a genre which is beyond your textbook. That's one more thing that we do. We also have regular group discussions. Interviews, we don't really start it in the first term, but by term 2, we start them on interviews as well. So the interviews can take place in different ways. One, when you're having your viva, we have either somebody from outside or an alum. And when they're doing the viva, alongside the viva, they're taking an interview for you. So they are going simultaneously. Viva is on the particular project you worked on.
Correct.
The interview is happening simultaneously. So we are giving them a lot. When they come into second year, just before placement begins, we have a whole lot of things that we are doing with the students. We are doing aptitude tests, we are doing group discussions, we are doing PIs, we are also calling in image consultants who are talking to them about how you present yourself. So all of these exercises are what we are doing so that they are more rounded personalities when they leave.
Correct, correct. Of course, because once the student enters, he's a raw gem.
He's a raw
Not-
gem.
not
We've
every
got to
field
work
is
with them
correct,
too, so that we get a finished product
correct,
outside.
correct, correct. So great, ma'am. Thank you very much.
My
coming to
pleasure,
us.
Ravneet.
Thank you.
Thank you.